Hey guys, so on today's podcast we have Batal Gaming and co-founder Kevin, who's joined from Dubai. And so basically, the MENA gaming market is booming, right? So with 100 million plus gamers and rising esports investments, and in that space, Batal Gaming is tapping into this growth as the region's leading 1v1 matchmaking platform, making competitive gaming more accessible, fair, and monetizable. With 35,000 plus users and a strong retention rate, Patal is redefining esports with on demand competition, creator driven engagement, and seamless monetization. Join us as we explore how Patal Gaming is shaping the future of skill based esports in MENA. Welcome, Kevin, to Pressplay.
Hi, Vinit. Thanks so much for having me. Thanks for the intro as well. That's better than probably I could have done myself. So that's great.
Yeah, so please introduce yourself and let's get into what you guys are building.
Yeah. I'll start with myself and then maybe I'll start with kind of the backstory of how we got to Batal Gaming, because I think it's important of kind of our thinking behind the business. But I mean, myself, I'm South African American, but I've been based here in the UAE for the last sort of almost 25 years now, minus a stint in university in Canada, lived in London for a year, and sort of moved back to Dubai 12 years ago, start my professional working career. I come from a consumer marketing background, so I worked in advertising with Red Bull. I then worked for Sony Entertainment for a couple of years. I then worked for a gaming consultancy business that was part of a larger organization. The business I was working with was ITP Gaming, and that was kind of probably my first sort of exposure to the gaming world. I mean, obviously, I played games and stuff like that, but I think myself, I guess more from a business side and really understanding the space, that was my first exposure. And a lot of what we were doing at the beginning was a lot of market research for gaming publishers. So if you look at like the biggest gaming publishers that are out there, Epic Games, EA Sports, Riot Games, etc., us here in the UAE, well, in the MENA region as a whole, for most of these games are played on regional servers, right? And a couple of years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, a lot of these games didn't have regional servers, and so that was always a kind of big pain point for us, because we'd play a certain game and we'd connect to a European server and we'd have way more of a lag disadvantage to those players. So we started working with the publishers, doing quite a bit of market research for gamers in the region, particularly in the GCC, even more particularly in Saudi Arabia. And that was kind of probably my first sort of aha moment of, okay, wow, these guys are a bit crazy, especially Saudi. They play a lot, they spend a lot of time gaming, they spend a lot of money gaming. And I mean, now there's plenty of data and research about all of that, and it's kind of out in the open. But that wasn't necessarily the case quite a few years ago. So that was kind of like the first trickle of, okay, there is a market here that seems untapped. Fast forward some time, COVID came around, and I think like every kind of young professional, every person, we started to dust off the PlayStations and get playing again. And we were playing, me and my friends, during that time of lockdown and everything. We were playing Call of Duty Warzone quite a lot, and we were playing every single night. There was not much to do during that time, and we started thinking we were getting pretty good at the game. And my co-founder, who's a way better gamer than me, much more of a gamer than me, he was really leading the charge with all of us and playing Call of Duty. He said, guys, let's go join let's join tournaments. Let's play more competitively. Like I think we're pretty good. And we joined kind of some of the local tournament platforms in the MENA region, online tournaments. We didn't care so much about winning cash prizes and stuff like that. It was more about, just kind of having that competitive experience. And we got beat really, really badly, and we realized like, oh, wow, we're actually far away from, the people that are playing in the competitive scene. And it was quite a humbling experience, but it taught us that, okay, well, hold on. If we're not that good, but we want to compete, we want to have the chance to win prizes, we want to, elevate our gaming experience from just playing by ourselves normally, there has to be an avenue for us to do that. And so me and my co-founder started looking around. looking for platforms where, maybe they rank people via skill level or something of the sort. And we couldn't really find it. And we realized that the esports scene was, especially in this region, really, really reserved for the gaming elite. So that's quite a long-winded backstory, but that's how we got to this point of, okay, there has to be a way we can democratize esports for the region. There has to be a way that, whether you're a semi-professional or an average gamer or a, not so good gamer like myself, you're still able to compete and have that experience like anyone else. And, after looking around for a while, realized there was nothing out there and decided to build something ourselves to solve that problem. And that's how we got to Batal Gaming.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. It's amazing how many, attention economy, as I call it, attention economy focused businesses have sprouted thanks to COVID, because I think COVID, a lot of habits stuck, whether it's video streaming content or playing games.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so what was you mentioned the whole need of having a platform or a go-to service for all types of gamers. But then over the last, let's say, 12 to 24 months, what was the genesis of you guys to start Batal Gaming?
So, I mean, the original idea is, okay, so we felt that we looked at the current landscape, which was esports tournaments, particularly large-scale tournaments that were taking place. And they kind of had this allure of like a grand prize at the end, right? So they'd throw in, let's put as many people into a tournament bracket as possible. And, 1 or 2 or 3 people or whatever are going to win, large prizes. And everyone else is kind of going to come out, a bit of a loser. And we try to like analyze down, okay, what do we think the problems with these tournaments are? So the number one problem, or the first problem that we identified, was they're extremely time consuming. So, some of these tournaments can take hours, weekends, weeks, just a lot of dedicated time that, that the kind of average gamer, unless you're a student or someone really young that has a lot of time in your hands, you can't participate in it. So not only the total length of the tournament, but also the time in between rounds was just a terrible user experience. So like, let's say you have a bracket of, 128 people, you have round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And it's like round 1 has to finish before round 2, before round 3. So like, even let's take a way smaller example. So we participate in some 32 player FIFA tournaments. And I think we worked out that like to complete that tournament, if you win, the time it takes is like 4.5 hours, maybe tournament time. But your actual play time is like less than an hour, like your combined match time. So the rest of the time is just kind of dead waiting time. So time was the first problem we identified as terrible, sort of user experience. The second one was the skill-based matchmaking, which I think, that's relatively straightforward, but we felt there has to be an element of, gaming has so many different levels, like real sports, like anything, of different skill levels. And there has to be a way and a demand for, not only if you're the very best, you can participate and win, but everybody should kind of have that opportunity. And then the last thing is you couldn't just participate in competitions whenever you wanted, so they were very kind of events-based. They weren't convenient in the sense of, I have half an hour of time now, I want to play now. So we kind of looked at those problems, and that ultimately led to, how can we solve that and how can we create a better user experience? And I think also from a technological side, a lot of these existing platforms that were out there were COVID-born, were events businesses that then became digital businesses during COVID, and they weren't built as tech companies. So after looking at all of that, that's kind of how we, created what we created, which trying to solve each problem one by one. The first was the time-consuming issue. So we said, okay, well, how can we match people on demand? And that's how we came up with 1v1 matchmaking. So to maybe put it like more simply, or just explain it so people get it, in a very simple sense, you come into our platform, Batal Gaming, and you select the game you want to play. Let's say you want to play a game of FIFA, and you go find me an opponent. And in real time, we'll match you with an opponent of the same skill level. So me and you, Vinit, could be matched together, and we will then go from the Batal Gaming platform onto PlayStation 5, whatever particular device you're playing on. We play a match against one another, come back to Batal Gaming, our scores are validated, and a winner is determined of that match. And then depending on the matchup, a prize is awarded, or you climb the leaderboard and you can win a weekly prize, etc. And we felt like that kind of solved all the issues of time consuming, play on demand, and playing somebody of the same skill level.
That sounds exciting, man. I mean, for sure, I'm not a very, not even a semi-professional gamer. So, I'm the right candidate for checking this out. How do you guys do it? Like, how do you match people with the right skill set?
Yeah. So we use a ELO rating system, which is something similar that you'll find like in a lot of games, and also like chess.com, I think, is probably the best example of really perfecting the system. So we use a ranking system from 1,300 to 10,000. All of the way that we analyze your skill as a player is solely based on your performance on the platform. Reason being because there's a lot of ways you can trick the system if we take your ranking from the game itself, i.e., people create new accounts on games and lose 5 games in a row and kind of do all these different things. So we do it solely based on your performance on our platform. Everybody joins at 1,300, and we'll generally match you into somebody within kind of that range, but is not a direct new player. So we know that this person is actually 1,700, let's say. And we'll match you in placement games at the beginning, where you will play, these players. And we basically can start learning very quickly based on your score and who you're playing against. It's all kind of an algorithm of what your skill level is, how good or bad you are. And then most importantly, we have a lot of kind of parameters in place in the system where we get alerted if somebody is trying to trick the system. We can quite easily pick up on that notion. But we also try and incentivize none of that stuff to happen by kind of the higher your rank and the better you are. It's also kind of bragging rights within the digital community, So we want people to strive to kind of to be better. At the moment, due to kind of our user base size, we put people into 3 brackets. So bronze, silver, and gold. As we grow our user base, we want to get to a point of 10 different brackets, or 10 levels, if you want to call it. Because to be perfectly honest, currently somebody now at the bottom end of silver and the top end of silver, there's still too much of a delta, between those 2 players. But we want to, get to a point where we can have way more buckets to put people in to really ensure that people are, kind of the same skill level.
That sounds exciting. And I think just talking to people within the industry and even investors who are looking at the space, one of the concern points has been monetization, right? It'd be great for you to share how you guys go about doing it, what the plans are as the user base increases.
Yeah, I think monetization in esports has been tough. I think if you look at and even like, let's, kind of, even if you forget us for a second, because sure, we do esports and stuff like that, but we also think of ourselves as like an entertainment company, an entertainment platform for people to participate in. If you look at like more traditional professional esports and stuff like that, monetization there has been super tough, right? These guys have a lot of issues. One of the biggest ones being is gamers are used to getting everything for free. You can play Fortnite, which is a world-class game, completely for free. You can watch your favorite streamer on Twitch completely for free. So the idea of spending money in gaming, has been something that, you watch your favorite gamer on YouTube for free. It's just something that I think the community, that a lot of it being, a younger demographic is not kind of used to. And then I think the biggest problem that like traditional esports has is a lot of these events that are put in, they don't own the IP, right? Like if you look at the Premier League, they own the IP for the matches that are taking place, and they sell the broadcasting rights and all of this. When these people are doing Counter-Strike tournaments or things of that nature, they don't own that IP, the game owns it. So I think it's a very tricky landscape, the kind of, let's call it traditional, kind of esports space. For us, it's something that's changing now in real time. But maybe for transparency, I'll take you through what we started doing and then what we're going to do now. And I think, you can talk to any startup and they have one idea of monetization or how you're going to make money, and then as time goes, it changes.
Absolutely.
So our original idea was purely pay to play. So we wanted no ads, no outside sponsors, not reliant on anything else, but users that come onto our platform and basically they purchase Batal coins. And these coins are only a in-platform currency. They have no value, outside of the platform. And with those Batal coins, you then use those coins to enter arenas. These arenas are effectively where you're selecting your game and searching for an opponent. And once you're matched with an opponent, you play your game, and the winner of that game wins a cash prize. And that goes directly into your Batal wallet. And then there's a whole bunch of ways you can cash it out and spend it even on our ecosystem itself. So that was how we started. We still wholeheartedly believe in that model. I think the only thing is, the most important thing on our platform is matchmaking time, right? So if you come onto Batal Gaming, you want to find somebody to play FIFA against. If it takes too long to find an opponent, you're going to say, I don't have the patience. People have very little patience nowadays. I'm not going to wait around. So we kept trying to think, okay, how can we integrate a free-to-play option where we can get more users onto the platform that can sort of subsidize our paying users, that they always have opponents to compete against. And so now we've introduced, it's funny, actually, today is the first day of it, the 6th of Feb, at 7 p.m. tonight.
Nice.
We're introducing, our new kind of free-to-play option where you can come onto the platform, you can play completely for free. You don't win cash for every matchup, but you win XP points. And these XP points, you climb up the leaderboard. And effectively, every week is a competition week. And the top 5 players of each game win a cash prize. So kind of we've gone a bit more to the ecosystem of the game. It's like how it's done in games itself, where you can play for free and you can grind and you can spend more time and you can win a prize, or you can pay a fee and have a better chance of winning a prize immediately. So
Awesome.
That's kind of how we've transitioned. Yeah.
No, that sounds very cool. I love the fact that it's pretty tempting to get brands involved, etc. But I think I love the fact that you guys are focused purely on the gameplay and the experience that people who come on the platform can get on day one.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool. And then to jog back a little bit, you spoke about the genesis of the platform, and you've obviously been here for long enough to know the region quite well. Why did you start in MENA? What kind of demographics or what's happening here that's not happening anywhere else, and you started here, and how do you intend to scale it from here?
Yeah. So I think there were a couple reasons. Number one is, the games, at least at current, that we're offering, these kind of AAA gaming titles, FIFA, Fortnite, PUBG, League of Legends, they're all played on regional servers. So you're kind of geo-locked in a sense that, you can't, there's platforms similar to us that exist in North America, in Europe. They're a lot more on the kind of wagering side of things, and they wouldn't be regulatory compliant here. But, a similar sort of a model that exists, in other markets. And nobody from the MENA region is going to join a platform in the US, because you'd get matched against people in the US. You'd have a lag disadvantage. It'd be a terrible experience. So in a weird way, we had the unique opportunity where we could look at existing businesses that, have been successful in other markets and tailor it to this market where we know we can geo-lock it to the MENA region because everybody's playing on the same server. So, we took a lot of learnings from a bunch of different platforms. And I think a lot of people are nervous to admit that or whatever. But it's like you have a playbook of things that people are doing in other markets, and you can, take bits and pieces and basically took those playbooks, adapted it for the MENA market, became regulatory compliant here. So that was kind of the first thing, that, okay, there's businesses that are doing well. We can implement, a similar sort of model here, but really tailor it for this market. And then I think the second thing is, like I mentioned earlier, and I'm sure we'll mention many times, they are crazy in Saudi Arabia. Like the basic stats, the average gamer in the US plays 6 hours per week. The average gamer in Saudi plays 14 hours per week. Like It's
Wow.
madness, you know. ARPU, which is okay, a constantly changing stat. I think it's $121 or $120 in the US. It's $270 in Saudi. You know,
Amazing.
it's Saudi gamers play more and spend more than arguably anywhere else in the world. So that was also a huge driving factor for us. And I think my previous experience working in gaming, you know, when before we started Batal Gaming, and I told you I had kind of had that eye-opening experience of, okay, these guys are an underserved market. They spend a lot of time and money gaming. You know, I started looking at a bunch of different you know, types of things that can be created for this market. Because I was just like, something needs to be served to this audience. You know, this is an underserved audience that loves gaming, that's passionate. And it was my co-founder who, you know, really came up with this idea and had these personal experiences of doing this, of playing in these tournaments and realizing that this is something we can serve. But I think, you know, all of those things together ultimately led to, you know, us focusing on this region.
Yeah, wow. I mean, those are really engaged users. So
Yeah.
that makes life easier for a platform to serve them, because you know, if they're going to play for that much time, that's amazing, amazing metric. Um, oh, that's great. Now, you know, in terms of the community building, you know, any sort of, I call it the three C's, right? So content, commerce, and community. And I think the community piece is sometimes overlooked. But in your case, I've seen that you guys are very cognizant of including that and focusing on that. So what's in place right now for to build a sense of community for people who are coming to Batal, and what are plans to sort of accelerate that?
Yeah. It's funny you say the three C's because we have like as our business has evolved and there's other things in the content pipeline and stuff like that, we have the four C's, which we have: competitive, which is our, you know, our 1v1 matchmaking. We have community, which I'll get into now. We have creators, which I can touch on as well at a later point, and we have channel. It's actually distribution channel, but we call it channel so we can use four C's. And
Nice.
that's like our ultimate you know, sort of end goal once we have a big enough, you know, community, and we will we can touch on that as well. But in terms of community, it's funny. Myself and my co-founder were on a call last night with somebody in the gaming community who's had a lot of success, who's built games, and you know, has been in the community for 30 years, really understands the space and we were kind of talking to him about some of our pipeline plans, you know, getting some advice from him and this and that. And he kind of kept going back to just worry about community, you know, like all of this stuff is great, all of this stuff is cool, but like it doesn't matter if you don't have a community. Like all that matters is the community. And I think it's the same thing you're touching upon, and it's something that's super important. And I think there's I don't want to say any names, but there's examples of businesses that haven't focused enough on building community and are just offering products and services and all these different things to their gamers, and you know, it won't work that way. I think, you know, some of the things that we're focusing on is it's a digital world nowadays. Gamers probably more than anyone live in a digital world and develop digital friends. I think Discord was a fantastic starting point of creating these communities and these groups and this and that. Maybe call me too old maybe for Discord, but I think a lot of it has gotten chaotic. You know, I don't know. Do you spend any time on Discord in these groups and stuff?
I have used it in my earlier days of you know, investing in crypto, for example. I used to get a lot
Yeah,
of my chatter
yeah.
from Discord. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it's a good place, but it's quite chaotic. You know, there's a lot
Yeah.
going on. There's all these different channels. There's all these different groups. There's constant chatter if it's a large community and stuff. But I think Discord has its purpose, and it's, you know, you can have, you know, we have a Discord channel that we use, you know, and we have a lot of our community in there. But I think what we're trying to do is, you know, create even a more customized community within the platform itself. So at the moment, you know, everybody has a user profile. You have, you know, kind of all of your match history. You have all of your stats, all these different things you can track. And we're kind of expanding that out further and further, where step two is, okay, you can add other people on the platform, you know, so a kind of social element to it where, you could play against somebody and you can finish the match and you can add them as a friend. And you guys can chat, one to one, anytime you're on the platform. And I think maybe just I'm jumping all over the place, but to kind of maybe explain the thinking behind that. At the end of the day, like, we're a competitive platform where people can come and win prizes and all this kind of stuff. People are going to game the majority of their time just normal gaming, right? Just having fun and whatever. Our platform's not for somebody to come and spend all of their time gaming on, to try and win prizes and stuff like that. It's not the case, right? Like, you train a lot and then you run a race. We consider ourselves more of the race. And so we started realizing that, we want to connect people that they can play together outside of, this competitive ecosystem. And not only that, they can find people to play with, so a lot of games are team orientated. And one of the ways Discord succeeded very much at the beginning was, if you were a Call of Duty player and said, I have a KD ratio of 2.2, and you go into a Call of Duty group, guys, 2.2 KD ratio, anyone who has a similar ratio, let's go, add me as a friend, let's play. And that system can work, but it's just, it's quite messy and all over the place, and there's so many people typing and whatever. And so we wanted to give an avenue for people who are looking to play with people, to find friends. And so this is kind of how we've started the community element of it. And we're hoping to kind of expand that more and more. We started seeing, like, in different games, we kind of match people, not match people, but people play differently. For example, in Rocket League, you can send a invite code to the person you play against. So you don't actually add them as a friend, right? You just invite them to the game. Where in FIFA, you have to add the person as a friend and then invite them to a game. And at the very beginning, we started, talking to a lot of our early customers and gaining feedback from them. And we realized that so many people are playing against one another, then they have each other's friends on FIFA, then they're both logging in at random times, and they are, now they're digital gaming friends that, some of them have been playing together since inception of the platform. So kind of just really, expanding that out, that, people can meet people on Batal Gaming itself.
No, that's great. And I think also the other benefit of community is that the word spreads. It's easier for you to get the word out there, spend as little as possible on marketing. I know that platforms spend a lot of money or think about budgets for, cost of customer acquisition and so on and so forth. So, I mean, without getting into the stuff around CAC and LTV, etc., that's all good stuff. Where any investors watching this can reach out to us for the deck for more details. But we'll skip that part. But no, so I think that's great. So we've touched upon monetization and community. What does the future roadmap look like for Batal?
Yeah. So we have kind of two. So we've spoken about competitive, community, and then we have kind of two other pillars that we're starting to build out and starting to think about more. And both of them, well, the first one kind of came by chance. By once we started doing this business, realizing other gaps, which I think is the coolest way to come up with something to add, because there's a demand for something. So when we started promoting our platform, we started using gaming content creators to promote it. So we would get Twitch streamers, who would basically do a live stream on Twitch, tell all their followers, guys, I'm going to play on this new platform, Batal Gaming. It's cool for X, Y, and Z. I'm going to go join the FIFA arena. All of you guys come and join the FIFA arena as well, and one of you will get matched with me. And, it would be a great kind of user acquisition for us, because everybody would be, trying to play against their favorite creator. But what we started to notice that the creators themselves were really enjoying it. So, we'd contract somebody and we'd pay them to do this as a marketing promotion. But then we'd notice a week later that they're streaming on Batal Gaming again, and they're, promoting the platform. And we were like, oh, wow, that's amazing, kind of free marketing for us. Fantastic. And then we started talking to the creators more, and kind of getting an understanding of why they were doing this. And there were two main reasons. One was they loved the experience because it was a nice way for them to really engage with their fan base, and engage with their fan base in a very easy way, right? They just go, boom, I'm entering the FIFA arena. Come on, fans, whoever comes, is going to get matched with me. As opposed to, normally it would be like, they'd go on their Discord and say, guys, first 100 people to comment are going to go through a draw, and then I'm going to select one of you, and then I'm going to message you privately, what's your name, and I'm going to add you as a, like kind of all this stuff. So it was a really easy, nice way for them to engage with their fan base and engage with, they can come into the platform and play 5-6 games, against their audience. So a great engagement tool for the creator. And then the second part, was these live streamers, and I have a lot of respect for them. Like I since starting this business, like I watch these creators more and more and work with them more and more. Like these guys grind, they're live streaming for a couple hours every night. Like they've got to stay entertaining. Like I don't know how they do it, but they also realize, a lot of them, that, this is kind of just an exciting stream, because my content of my stream is set. I'm going onto a website where you guys can join and play against me. And then, they're just doing that over and over. And, they're talking a bit of smack with their fans. And, so we started looking down, we said, okay, that's cool. So then the idea started, well, look, we want to get our customer acquisition costs down as low as possible, like any business does. So, okay, maybe we can do something with these creators. We give them their own arenas, something like this. And so that's kind of how the idea started. We then started speaking to the largest sort of talent management company here in the MENA region that manage, the majority of gamers out there, gaming content creators. And then it started expanding further and further and further. And we basically came up with this, we need a cool name for it, but what we're calling a fan engagement tool for creators. And the idea is we're launching a pilot now with 3 creators, probably in the next month, each that have 5 million plus followers each, where essentially the creators will have a creator section on Batal Gaming. They'll have their own page, and on that page, they kind of set up their own page with all of their details and stuff like that, and they also set their pricing. And there's a couple things that people can do. So you can pay a fee to play against your favorite creator. So, there's a lot of fans out there that watch these live streams and are like, I'm better than this guy. This guy's not that good. He's only, has this following because he's entertaining and, and that kind of thing. Like, I can beat this guy, right? So there's a huge demand in people wanting to play against their favorite creator. Or you can also play with your favorite creator. So you can request to play with them. Let's say I'm a university student in Saudi. I play FIFA 2v2. I'm playing against 2 of my friends. I can get, a famous pro player to play with me, just for kind of the fun of it. So play with me, play against me. You can watch kind of exclusive content from the streamer, not necessarily live streams, but maybe, let's say, videos that will only go out on Batal Gaming. Stuff like, different skills you can learn in the game, maybe their gaming setup, that kind of things. We will have a merchandise section. So the creator, in kind of a few clicks, can create merchandise and sell it, and we'll kind of take care of everything from A to Z.
Wow.
Nice. We will. There's a couple other things that like we're looking to add in, but that's kind of the overall idea. And I think what's cool about this is it didn't start as like, how can we generate more money for the business? It started as, how can we promote our business more to get people to the 1v1 matchmaking as cheaply as possible. So it was like, let's give this type of stuff to the creators. And as it's evolved now, we realize that, we think it's something that's actually really exciting, really cool, that can be a revenue generator. And unlike the 1v1 matchmaking, which, there are other markets that have these models, we haven't really found anyone that's like, kind of looking to monetize and engage with gaming creators the way that, we're building out now. So we're super excited for that. And yeah, that's really cool. I don't know. I've spoken about that so much. I can get to the next one if you want, but yeah.
No, that's great, man. I mean, you've pretty much, over the last 30 minutes or so, we've hopefully the viewers have got an education on the esports space in MENA. It's super exciting. And I love the fact that you guys are giving the creators the opportunity to engage with their, all their fans, whether it's super fans or, upcoming fans. And again, that plays into the whole community building piece as well. Community building is fan engagement. So that's cool. That's awesome. In terms of your personal learnings, Kevin, for anyone who wants to break into gaming, in MENA, whether it's a business or is a gamer. What's your learning been?
Phew. Um, Plenty. I think. I mean, this is like gaming slash, I guess, kind of like just startup, learnings in general,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
They kind of tie into everything. I think the first thing is like we were like the first version of our product, our MVP, if you want to call it. Like we took a lot of time to develop it. We were like, it was such a nervous experience for us to get the first thing out there. The very first time anybody plays on the platform, comes onto the platform, and I think like the first thing is like just launch your MVP quickly, like whatever, just get it out there, get people on there, start talking to your customers. And a lot of this is, generic advice that I heard at the time, but didn't necessarily listen to it when you're in the moment. But I think the first one was like, yeah, just like don't worry about all these features and functions and how it looks, just like get the MVP out there. Be able to make changes very quickly, kind of in real time, based on how people are interacting, sort of with your platform. I think analyzing data, this is very consumer business focused, right? But I think analyzing data and having like the correct infrastructure for data analyzation set up from the start is super important, because the amount of times that myself and my partner made assumptions in our head and then really dived into the data, we're like, we are completely wrong, and data is probably the only one that's going to really give that kind of to you. I think as well on the fundraising side of things, because you're in this space and you're on the investor side, and I think I've been on the operator side as well. It's very hard to not subconsciously try and optimize stuff for investor purposes, or that it looks like it's like, okay, what are we can do this change and we can get way more users onto the platform, and that's just going to look better for us as a business, and we can raise more capital and do all these other things. I think it's there's such a fine line between staying fully true to the mission and just really focus on giving a good experience to gamers and giving a good experience to your customers, and knowing that that will pay off, versus chasing certain stats, revenue, users, growth, retention, et cetera, et cetera. All of these are good stats, but sometimes there's changes that you have to make that are for the betterment of the platform in the long term that might not be the best for the platform in the short term. I'll even give you personal examples of that. Like we went through stages in the platform where we realized, okay, there's certain elements that is not allowing us to retain users as well as we want to. And then we said, well, we need to fix X, Y, and Z and actually stop marketing the platform, because it doesn't make logical sense for us to market something that we think then users are going to churn. Let's fix this, and then we can continue marketing. However, what's going to happen in the short term is your month-on-month growth that you have that looks so nice and sexy, and this lovely graph and whatever, that's going to take a dip. But I think those it's important to make those decisions, and not just chase month-on-month growth and whatever for kind of the betterment of the long term of the platform.
No, that's great advice. That's great advice. I think it's always a balancing act, and it's a tough one.
Yeah.
You mentioned about your ideas to monetize and how you had to pivot.
Yeah.
I think just listening to you, I've realized that it's important that when you start out in any business, but even in the gaming business, especially because it's so dynamic and it's changing so fast, that you have the understanding that you might have to pivot, and that's fine. That's okay. And I think investors get that today. Maybe back in the day, you'll be like, okay, this is what I had started to do, and now I'm not going to change because this is what I thought about. No, that's awesome, man. Sounds good. This has been.
I'll add one more thing, about that and pivoting, and I'll give credit to our investors and a lot of people we've spoken to. They are way more open to you pivoting than for us. It was the changes that we made and the monetization changes that we made in these things. Honestly, it was our own stubbornness, because we were so locked on you have this original idea of exactly how you want to do something, and then it's like very hard to, oh well, no, it's, you actually need to go a little bit this way because that's what it's telling you to do. Where our investors were super supportive and chill with any major changes that we made, and it was our own stubbornness of not wanting to change. So I think don't be stubborn.
Don't be stubborn. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Awesome, Kevin. Thanks for your time. I mean, those are all the questions I had. Any sort of last messages?
No, I think we got through most of it, and yeah, thank you so much. This was very enjoyable, and yeah, always nice to speak about Batal Gaming, and always nice to speak to you as well.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck for Batal Gaming, and thank you for the time on the podcast. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.